I'm good, thank you, Jasper. I've had my cup of tea and hot cross bun, so I'm ready to go.
Oh my god, you're so British. And speaking of British, we're on a British course today, the Right London course. You may have your tea, but I've got my Coke. First of all, oh wait, hey, Seb Hand says, hey Jasper, where can I watch your stream? Swift Community Live on Facebook. There you go. So if you want race broadcast, albeit the video quality may be a bit low, what you're used to seeing, but don't worry, you can listen to it in the background, act as if it's like a radio broadcast. You know, Tim and I, we got those radio faces as well as voices, right, Tim? It'll
Yeah,
work out. It'll be
true.
fine. I tried actually to have Tim on yesterday, broadcast this race with me yesterday, but due to the fact that there was some audio issues, which you can listen back to yesterday, we actually fixed it by wearing this. I may look like an NFL coach going, come on now, we need to do a 36 long shot. Let's go 64 cross, everybody, delay one. But it's what we gotta do, what we gotta do, guys. So I hope you can forgive me for wearing this massive artillery today. But Tim, what are we watching today? What is on the program?
So we have the ZTR Tuesday night race around the Classics course, and the A's will be doing it 9 times, the B's 8, the C's 7, and the D's 6. As well as that, we've got the A's off at half past, the B's off at 32 minutes past, the C's off at 34 minutes past, and the D's off 6 minutes after the A's at 6:36.
And looking at the start list, Kiss is coming up later today, but I'm almost going to venture to say that this race has got the bigger hitters. I see Jacob Hansen, who Tim told me just before the race is has a good shot of winning this race, is entered. Sebastian Hein is in here, the vegan cyclist, Le Monstre. I mean, who else is in here, Tim? Who am I not mentioning so far?
We've Daffyd Williams in here, Cullen, Hine, Bruno Vieira's popped
Cliven
in,
is in here. Whew.
Wallstrom, Barholm, from
Blisterveld.
Scandinavian.
Yeah, no, this is gonna be crazy. So with that in mind, I'm gonna focus the visuals around the A category. Even though this is a staggered start, I'm not gonna move back to the B, C's, and D's. Since this race has the potential to be a race for the ages, I'm gonna stick with the A's. But my good friend, and let's just call him workhorse for the day, Tim, what are you doing?
Here comes the bus.
You're
You're throwing me. You are throwing me under the bus.
He's
And
gonna be on Swift Power.
you're going to try and compare me to Johnny Nobler.
Well, that's a
And
great honor to be compared to Johnny Noblet, though. You can be my Johnny Noblet, I'll be your Nathan Garrett. You can be over in Swift Power, figuring out how the riders are doing in the B's, C's, and D's. But we are out early on the course. Peter Barholm from Team Vision, out of Norway, kicking it out early at 10 watts per kilogram. Reactions all around. This is usually what we see in races like this, Tim. You're an A racer, you've done this before. What goes through your head at the beginning of a race like this?
uh, the adrenaline is really pumping. You're not sitting next to them on a genuine crit start line, but you know everyone else is spinning up. Everyone's going to throw it through the roof. Heart rates are going to go mad. And all you've got to do is just hold on until you get to the course, and then the fighting settles down a bit. But these A's, with all these people here, it's going to be going all over the place.
9 laps on the classes course. It's gonna be fun to watch for sure. Right now, over in the chat section, I've got the computer with a chat open over here. I'm just fiddling a tiny bit with the audio because I realized that the audio was a tiny bit off yesterday or a tiny bit loud. So as I'm messing with the gain, can you let me know how this sounds? Because you're going to be my sound check, you're going to be our live audience and participating and sharing your thoughts as the race gets underway. I see Russ Crowder, I see Casey Shum are in the chat already. How are you guys doing? I hope you guys have settled down with a nice beer, maybe some nice dinner for tonight, and you're about to watch an awesome race unfold out on the course of the Classics course. So what's the secret to the Classics course?
Classics course. It's flat. In my opinion, there is one opportunity to get away, and that's as you come up towards Trafalgar Square, as you come up through Whitehall. There's that one little incline where in the A's you're going to be throwing down double figures, I think, to break this group up. Other than that, there are opportunities, but you're going to have a team perhaps throw a big effort at it, or someone's going to get lucky. But other than that, I think we might be going towards a sprint finish.
Yesterday, Tim, they were racing on the figure eight course, but the figure eight course and the classics course, they share the same start ramp. And on that start ramp, you know, the Trafalgar Square climb, we actually saw Team Vision light it up with attacks early on. Could we see a similar thing happen today?
I don't think. Well, I think we'll see that initial ramp. People will try and break things up, but I don't see much teamwork happening here. I think we've got quite a few. Whilst we've got a lot of strong riders, we don't have the big team experimental train. We don't have a vision train. We've got a few KT riders, but nothing that can
BRT looks to be out and strong though. BRT and PT Set actually look to be out in strong force today. We'll see if they're going to be working together on the climbs. But look at the names. iCat from Heddes Course is also out here, who I believe finished second in the Open Dutch Nationals. And Jay van der Beesterveld from Heddes Course as well was also up in top 5, I believe, in the Open Dutch Nationals. It has been a while since I've seen a peloton this strong, and I just want to single out, this is an inside tip for you, G-Skell from the Regency Park Riders, I believe that club name is. He is a colleague of mine out of the Zwift office who's going to be racing today, and I have about a sneaky suspicion that we'll see a good showdown from him today as he is on the Trek Madone, his steed of choice. What's your steed of choice, Tim? What bike do you like to race on out on Zwift?
I'm on the Cervelo S5 at the moment. I've sort of flashed between that and the Concept recently, obviously with blue livery, but I'm not. It's not. I don't know. It might be rumor. It's the whole drafting thing. I'd rather go with something that's sort of certified rather than rumored. So yeah, the Cervelo is my steed of choice at the moment.
What is your make on that? I mentioned that yesterday that there's this rumor going around that the Concept bike or the Tron bike actually has less of a draft compared to the Cervelo. Do you find that as well?
I don't have any conclusive evidence, but it's like anything. If you have a rumor, you hear that rumor, and then you race and you don't get a very good result, you're going to find what your perfect excuse is. You're going to find that first excuse, and the first excuse goes to the bike. So my best results have come on an S5, so I'm going to stick with what I know.
See, that's funny you mentioned that. Because I know like the Zwift Aero bike is like the third fastest bike in the peloton, but I just prefer riding on the Trek Madone. Like there's something like mentally that just helps you go stronger, get further by being on a nice bike. It's crazy though, but we're on the start ramp as you mentioned. What are we seeing, Tim?
We're seeing the first attack. Daffod's gone way up the front.
KRT.
Pretty predictable, but you've got huge numbers being thrown all over the place. This is where the first selection is going to come from.
We're used to seeing David Williams do this. He is a common name to Zwift A racing. He often gets himself on the podium in quite magnificent shows, and today could be just that. It's been a while since I've seen David sprint. I'm fairly certain that he's a great climber, but Tim, what is David's sprint like if it was to come down to that?
I'm going to say it's great because he's beaten me in a sprint before.
Ooh, that's a difficult task.
David's just got power that he can sort of lay down, whether it be in a sharp 500-meter burst or across a box hill. He's just a strong rider all around, and it depends how he applies that, I think, is what he wants to do.
Several riders are off the back and just hanging on. The vegan cyclist just on the back here, Tyler Pierce, I believe his name is just on the back of this group trying to make leeway getting back up there. But look at his heart rate. He's already at 194 beats per minute, Tim. Is that due to him being... He can't be out of shape. The vegan cyclist, he races so much. Maybe he's just nervous. Is that the case?
I think that's going to... You're going to have the nerves of you don't want to be out of it before it's even started. You don't necessarily win it from that attack there, but you can certainly lose it. So you're going to have some nerves. You're going to have a huge effort. They were going through up to the 10s and 11 watts per kilo there. So it's going to throw your heart rate all over the place. You've now got to try and calm it down and secure a group. But we've got Daffod and the Monster coming together. And for my personal theory, they've gone way too early, but we'll have to see how it comes back together.
Considering they still have all 9 laps to go, it could be a bit early. So they're doing 54 kilometers in the A race. Le Monstre and David Williams have 3 seconds on the chasing group. Le Monstre, Tim, he's quite the monster, isn't he?
Funny that, yeah. I mean, you've got everyone who has their own sort of pseudonym and things like that. But no, yeah, he's definitely living up to his name.
He is. I know for a fact that he is one of the stronger riders on Zwift because I'm good friends with Quentin Lefay, and Quentin Lefay, for a long period of time, would not shut up talking about Le Monstre and how he always finds himself up against Le Monstre. Or today he finished third, only 2 spots behind Le Monstre, so that was a good day. And the beast is out to shine again as he's been just off the front, sitting at 5 watts per kilogram. The first few laps of a race like this, you always gotta find your rhythm. Like when I raced the other day, Tim, the first few laps of the crit were absolutely insane. Everyone tried to break away, and we're seeing the same thing here, but will it slow down as we get further in?
Yeah, I think they've now, the larger peloton behind have kept it to 2-3 seconds. It's not going to go anywhere. The only thing I would say is that we're racing the Classics course on a forward rotation at 6:30 or 7:30 Central European time. It's going to be busy, so these riders are going to have to be careful for which wheel they're chasing, what they're following. Obviously, the riders nearby on the right-hand side will just be the people in the race, but as you can see, they're always passing riders here, and that's going to have an effect as well.
Always. I see Thomas Rem, a Dane, is in the chat saying, I don't even know how you would translate droid to English, but he's saying this could be better, but so far, Thomas, it's okay. Sit tight. You know, strap in. This is going to be a good race, I tell you. We're on the Classics course today. Usually, we've gotten so used to seeing Box Hill again and again and again. And if you want to race on Box Hill, on Sunday, there's a 173-kilometer race which features Box Hill 11 times. You're more than welcome to take on that feat. How do you feel about that, Tim? Are you busy on Sunday?
Very busy. I couldn't possibly. No, I did the Kiss 100 on Box Hill a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, brutal!
The fifth time at Box Hill was emotional, so I can only imagine what the 11th would be like.
Well, it's okay. You can on Saturday there is the Dolomites E Fundo, which doesn't even you don't even go up Box Hill. It's 73 kilometers, 1.3 thousand meters of altitude on the pretzel course. I highly recommend you show up on Saturday. It's forecasted to have over 1,000 riders in the group ride together. So if you want to be a part of Zwift history, Saturday at 9:30 British time, I think it is, that's when you want to be ready. 2 random people gets to go to the Dolomites. You get to go to the Grand Fondo in the Dolomites. How do you want to go, Tim? Do you want to go to the Dolomites?
Yeah, it's a range I haven't actually been to, so that'd be awesome.
Oh, man, I tell you, Dolomites, after seeing a bunch of those global cycling networks, all I want to do is just go down there and ride and ride and ride. On the front, we've got G. Skell, who's a great time trialist who actually, I believe he finished first in a TT this weekend. So if he were to attack off the front, you do not want to give him a meter because that's just going to grow out. As attacks at the front are actually happening, Jay Eriksson and Wallström, the 2 Swedes, maybe a little alliance there happening as they're trying to bridge up to Le Monstre 10 kilometers into the race. And it looks like the group has kind of settled down now. There is now order as we're going through let's go through this group and look who's still here. We got Brandl at the back, vegan cyclist, Jay Thrun out of Germany, who we have seen around before, Cliven, who's won a race on this broadcast previously. We've got Peter Hicks, we've got Tom Calland, Sebastian Hein, you got Jacob Hansen. Tim, you said Jacob Hansen was your outside shot to win this stage. Why so?
I can't remember what it was, maybe an EVR race about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago I raced him. He's just a strong rider, a sensible rider. I would sort of, you've got A riders that just sort of throw numbers at it as hard as possible and they've got the power and they can do it. However, there are also those A riders which are a little bit more clever. They sit in the wheels a bit more, they save their legs a bit more. So it's things like that where you can just work it out.
See, that wouldn't happen in Johnny's jet, by the way. That is why you always have your co-commentators in the shed. Do apologize, but Tim is busy at his office as well, it sounds like. Wallström, Monstre off the front with a 6-second gap down to Bistavel, Callan, O'Malley as they've just bridged over the top of the climb here. Now, 10 kilometers into the race, 10 minutes into the race, and they've got another 40 kilometers to go as the pace has slowly started to being picked up now. With so many big names in this, It'll be interesting to see how they're gonna pan it out. Are you doing all right, Tim?
Yeah, wonderful. Someone just decided to try and sell me some insurance or something on the phone, so sorry about that, but I'm back.
Oh God, insurance. Well, you might need some insurance from ever being called up on stream again. Bottom.
Come on then, what did I miss?
We had an attack of the frog. Monster and Wallstrom went up on the climb from Whitehall, I believe that is. 9 seconds down now to the group behind. And these two riders are going hard at it. Wallstrom is a guy who we recently, well, actually, he's a common face to the Beam chat that we used to broadcast over Nathan Guerra on Beam. I believe he was even a subscriber, so best of luck, Wallstrom. I think I saw you as well in the Open Swedish National Championships a couple of months ago, which was a pleasure to commentate. And so, 10 seconds, Tim. You said earlier that the attack we saw was way too early from David Williams. 5 kilometers later, do you still believe this is too early in the race?
Yeah, we've got 2 people up here against a whole list who are 10 seconds back. So it's a nice effort, and it's certainly animating the race. But I don't think the people 9 seconds back will be concerned yet.
And so while this is happening now, the cat and mouse game, I'm sure, Tim, the chat would love to hear what's next in your Zwift racing career. What are you planning? What are you targeting next? What is the achievement you want to achieve?
I just want to get more consistent, bit fitter. I've got a few things lined up this summer that I want to do outside. So mixing it up a bit of running as well, a bit of swimming. But then a big shout out to everyone who's doing the team time trial right now. I'm a big time trial fan, race against the clock. So I'd have loved to have done that, but it's just mixing it up really and enjoying it. Looking forward to what Zwift are bringing in that's new.
Ah, well, there's this eFundo thing on Saturday, which Tim, you should take part in it. Just saying. It's gonna be fun though. That is the eFundo happening on Zwift. Is everything I love about Zwift. It is social yet challenging, but it's on a grand scale, which is really really fun. I mean, have you done the pretzel course before, like the full length?
Yeah.
I've not. This is going to encourage me to get through it. Because no matter how well I do, at the finish line, I get to unlock a jersey. So it's all about just competing, taking part, sharing a good experience. Because that's what real life Grand Fondos are about as well. Even though I know, Tim, Grand Fondos get a bad rep for being, you pay to ride roads, you can ride without paying. But Grand Fondos, you kind of pay for the people putting in their time. This eFundo on Saturday, it's free. It's Grand Fondo, but better. So that's what you should be taking part in. Personally, for me though, Tim, what's next on my racing scale? I don't even know. I honestly don't even. In typical Jesper fashion, I'm gonna say one day I'm gonna come home from work, or I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be like, this is the day. It's Thursday. It's Kiss. It is 2 times Box Hill. Lex, let's see what you got.
So we haven't got anything planned for Zwift-wise, but you've got Flanders in 2 weeks. How are you feeling about that?
It's going to be good. It's going to be interesting. I've kind of like tried to keep myself like, how... This is going to be a weird analogy, but horses, they've got these things covering their eyes so like nothing gets in their eyes. That's how I've been handling myself. I've been trying to not think about Flanders, not think about Flanders, not think about Flanders. And so when I show up, it will just be like, oh God, I gotta do this. There's no excuses. I gotta do it. So that's how it is.
You're taking a blinkered approach.
Yeah, I've definitely been called out a couple of times by a few loyal fans and followers that I might not be the best approach. In the chat, I see some love for a Portuguese friend out of PTC, Mr. Bruno Vieira, who actually used to race a lot and win a lot on Zwift. And then I believe the Zwift anti-doping agency stepped in. What happened, Tim?
Well, I think everyone who races Zwift or understands Zwift, there's a sort of bit of, you don't know what the other person's riding, whether it be a smart trainer, whether it be a power meter, whether it be this, that, the other, how it's doing it, whether they are the weight they say they are. So obviously we're getting better at doing things like that. You're getting people calling other people out in a friendly way, if you know what I mean. Zwift rankings is obviously making that better. Zwift power is always very helpful. But I don't know the Bruno Vieira story in true detail, so I'm not going to comment on it. But everyone has a different trainer, which is different, calibrated in a different way.
So what happened was, as I've been told by Quentin Lefay, who is a close friend of Bruno Vieira, was that Bruno Vieira was on an Elite Turbo Muin, which has been known to put out some wonky numbers from time to time. And then Zwift Anti-Doping Agency, they just checked in to see if everything was all right, to make sure the level of the playing field is level. And Bruno Vieira noticed that numbers weren't quite equal to what they are. And according to Casey Shum, he's actually got a new trainer, a Tax Flux. So to race on Zwift, there's a certain honor among, I was going to say thieves, but among riders. I mean, you trust that the rider next to you is actually putting out the numbers that they are, and which makes it so much more fun and much more competitive, as we're seeing esports being introduced to Zwift surely but surely. There was this race in Roanoke, I think it was, Tim, the other day with Cyclogent. Did you have the pleasure of watching that event?
No, I missed it, unfortunately. It was the wrong time of the day for me, but I believe that we're having one similar in London, so hopefully we'll be able to catch that one.
Hopefully you will. You definitely should, because it was a great event. We had riders lined up next to each other, all on the same equipment, all being weighed in, and they were racing on the Richmond course. It was a pleasure to watch, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for us as esports is getting bigger and bigger, and racing is getting bigger. I mean, just look at some races like the Primal Race Series, that's picked up a sponsor. Look at KISS, they've got the Great Pedal Power as their sponsor. More and more races are providing basically great services for free. They're doing it just because KISS Racing, but because Zwift Racing is growing exponentially very, very fast, which is a pleasure to watch. And I said KISS because we're zoning in on David Williams, who just attacked again, who is a part of KISS Racing team. And now the vegan cyclist is taking the front. I wonder, what is his max heart rate, Tim? Because he's at a 194 again, 20 minutes in. This could be a solid effort if he's going to be at 195 this entire race through.
On Zwift Power, his max heart rate is 207.
207. So he's 10 beats actually now. He's at 197 now, 10 beats away. Vegan Cyclist is putting in an effort today, racing for your entertainment. I wonder, if you don't know who the Vegan Cyclist is, go on YouTube, type in the Vegan Cyclist. He recently did a video unboxing his Kinetic Rock and Roll, I think it was, his smart trainer, which is also coupled up to Zwift. So if you want to see that, head over to his YouTube channel. The front now, it's a bit more disorganized, but that will happen every time we go up this little incline. And coming to the finish line, several riders will spat out the back. Usually for me, when I used to race the classics course, I would do so well. We'd get to the final lap, we'd get to that climb, and it'd just be auf Wiedersehen, arrivederci, you know, it'd just be done. So it's a tough race, Tim.
It is. So just looking back from the A's to the B's, it would look like we've got a group of about keeps going, about 25 riders who are, when I say 11 kilometers in, so obviously the A stars a couple minutes behind, so Zwift Power's taken that for me, and everyone, well, a lot of them are playing within the 4 watts per kilo, so it doesn't seem to be a very attacking ride at the moment, but a big group with plenty of road still to go, so I'm sure there'll be some attacks being thrown down from that.
This is going to be a fascinating race, because essentially this is the flattest course that it is on the Ride London course. So it used to be a God-given fact that it was going to be a sprint no matter what on the Classics course amongst the best of the riders. But looking at the field, I would not be surprised to see Cliven go on to the attack, seeing David Williams give it one go, Le Monstre giving it a go. I don't think it's a certainty that it's going to be a sprint, but it's looking like 20 kilometers in now that we're nearing a sprint. We're getting close and closer to a sprint. And it's been a while since I've seen a good sprint, Tim. Well, actually, let me take that back. It's been 24 hours. It's been 24 hours since I've seen the closest sprint since Allenby, Plumers, and Cartwright. And if you've not seen that, the difference between Adam Webb and, what was the name again? Vanderbend was this much different. This much virtual road makes up winning and losing. And I'm sure that Adam Webb out there is thinking, if only I'd done that differently. What a race, Tim.
I saw Adam wrote somewhere that he threw down his 10-second sprint and then looked up, and Van der Bent was still 0 meters behind him, and just thought, oh no.
It's an awesome race, though. Awesome race. And we could see, with the riders in this course, we could see that again. It's very interesting to see this many riders, yet not that many from the same team. We're seeing pairs, we're seeing 3s and 3s, but not the usual Team Experimental showing up with 4 and 5. Casey, maybe you can elaborate in the chat. What is Team Experimental up to recently? I'll be honest, there's been a long period of time where I haven't really watched Zwift racing because I've been busy traveling and moving. But in that time, what has Team Experimental been up to? Because I used to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday to watch ZTR, which we're covering right now, and you would blow out the competition. You would show up with Frank Garcia, Casey Shum, with Heigel, with HD Becker, and you would just put on a show. You used to be, like, you had the recipe to team success. Are you guys still doing that? Waiting for a confirmation in the comment section, as there's a small delay.
Just while we wait for that confirmation, I've just been looking at the Zwift Power for the C category, and the first thing that jumps immediately to mind is 41 out of the top 50 are all above the category limit at the moment. Now, that's kind of understandable with if there's been a quick start, and that will, obviously they'll become fatigued and it will come down a bit, but that must have been a quick C start. They're now 11.5 kilometers in, 2 laps in. So. And
they're being lapped by the A's. Wait. Tell the guy he's on a live stream right now, the insurance guy, if they're calling you back. Just be like, yes, we have 40 people looking for bike insurance, in case you were wondering. just kidding, guys. So the A's are overhauling the C's out of the course. And if you don't know what Tim was talking about, when he's talking about looking at getting an upgrade, so in the C category, you can only be between a certain watts per kilogram increment, which is 2.5 to 3.2. And amongst this, you're a C rider. If you exceed category limits, you're a B rider. And so with this fast start, it usually happens on the Classics course. The first 2 laps are incredibly fast. Then you kind of find the group you settle in, and everybody slows down, tries to catch their breath, and then they get ready to do it all again at the sprint finish. So it's going to slow down. You're going to see the watts per kilogram go down, but come near the finish again, it's going to go way up through the roof. Casey Shum is saying, Team X has been super busy getting the XRS launch, which this race is a part of, I believe, and arena stuff going. We're still racing a lot, but busy with other Zwift too. Well, thank you for doing all the work you do, Casey, and the rest of Team Experimental. Casey's also saying, I'm racing USA races more right now, where he means outside on the real roads, and a lot of our team is starting to get outside racing as well. So it's been a good Zwift season, Zwift winter season, as the Northern Hemisphere heads out into the summer soon. And even myself personally, I've actually been getting out more now recently and slowly preparing for some of the crits in the local area. But now we've got an attack off the front. Jacob Hansen has joined Jay Thrun, Jay Eriksson, and the Monstra off the front. They're trying to catch up. This could be a definitive attack. 20 kilometers in, 30 kilometers to go still, another 30 minutes left of racing, and 4 riders have made it off the front. This is a strong group of riders. I've got about 10 seconds, but we've seen this again, but back in the bunch. Who else but the vegan cyclist to put down 5 watts per kilogram at 197 beats per minute? This man has got a healthy heart. I'm telling you that right now. Give us the inside scoop. Give us the inside scoop, Tim. What's happening?
So, what, in the race or the man trying to sell me insurance? That's the question. So,
was it the same guy again?
Yeah, I don't know why. He must have not crossed me off the list and not wanted to talk to me.
What? But, what are the odds of that happening?
Like that pack up Whitehall there had blown what was the peloton apart. You've got people hanging off the back. Bruno Vieira's come off the back. Carland is struggling to reform into what looks like will be the peloton, but with the people up front, you've got a lot of strength up front that will just keep on pulling.
The thing is, you can't give them too much time. Yesterday, though, we did see a gap of 37 seconds get bridged as we got closer to Box Hill. But what you have to remember here is that this is the Classics course. It's relatively flat. There's no major climb to make up the gap, basically. the gap that's made, you have to gain it all back on the flat, which makes it so much more difficult, right, Tim?
Yeah, so the differentials uphill are obviously based on a lot more on weight, and therefore you can close down the seconds closer. I will say that Adam Webb also took back a massive sort of, I don't know what it was in the end, like 30 seconds on the descent.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get either of those when it comes to the flat course. So 20 seconds could be enough. And also on lap courses like this, it's about breaking people's mentality as much as anything. If you're 5 laps in and you've got 4 left and you see minus, I don't know, 15, minus 20, your heart is not going to be in it necessarily as much as the person who's throwing the attack down. So you've got to break them physically and mentally on courses like this.
Mind over matter, a wise man once said. Not gonna name any names.
Something like that, yeah.
Jay Eriksson, Le Monster, Jade Thrun, and well, that's it. We've got 3 riders out in front. Jacob Hansen did try to bridge, but it looked like it actually failed. So 3 riders out in the front: Jay Thrun, Jay Eriksson, and Le Monstre. It's going to be difficult seeing them get all the way to the finish line, but I think if they can do it now, they can do it again later as well. This is a show of strength. They're basically showing that, you know what, guys, next time we get up to Whitehall Climb, I'm going to put down the power and I'm going to go again. There's nothing you can do. So when you're talking about breaking each other mentally, that's what they're doing now. They're just showing everyone else that even though you're going to catch us, we're just going to sit in and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again. And even if we get to a sprint finish, we've got the kick. So you have to outsmart us is what these 3 riders are saying to the rest of the bunch. But looking at the names, I'm fairly certain that there are a few riders in there that are quite comfortable about this situation still.
Yeah, I think the group that are 17 seconds back aren't going to panic yet. 3 people trying to hold this for 25 kilometers. It would be super impressive, especially as the peloton's just going to get faster and faster as we get closer to the end.
By the way, Tim, tonight's Kiss Race has got a different format. I don't know if you've heard about it, have you?
No, I haven't seen it.
This may be, I think it's tonight's event, but I've definitely seen this. So the Kiss Race is going to change, or at least they're playing with a new experiment. They're trying to mix it up because Zwift racing has become quite repetitive in the structure. So what Kiss Racing wants to do with the next few events is try to shake off the box and just, try different structures of racing. So tonight, it's going to be a staggered start, but not indexed by category. You're going to essentially pick a category, and then your goal is to work with that category, catch the riders ahead of you, and catch the rider and keep the riders behind you. So it's not really a handicap race. It's more so work together, get better, and you race against the group you're in. What do you think about that, Tim?
I like it. I think it'll take some time to get used to it and for it to work properly. But I like the fact that Kiss always try and sort of mix it up a bit.
I'm gonna confirm this, by the way. I want to confirm that that's actually the case. So I'm just loading up the Kiss Road Racing group on Facebook. But continue, Tim.
Yeah, no. Obviously, Kiss started off as trying to keep it as simple as possible, and that is great. But also, as you say, it can or could become monotonous, and so the fact that they're trying to develop it constantly is also a great thing for the Zwift platform.
All right, I stand corrected. It's the Kiss Americas that's launching this experiment. So Kiss Americas and Kiss Americas AM and Kiss Americas PM will remove category boundaries and turn it into more of a group event. So the Euro races, like the one tonight, will still have the staggered starts, but tomorrow morning, or Thursday morning, I think it is, when you are to race the Kiss AM, that will have different boundaries, different categories, different race style, which I might have to wake up early and give it a watch because it sounds interesting. So it's going to be 4 groups working against each other, but they're not indexed by strength. Working together is going to be difficult. There's going to be a lot of potpourri. Like, you get a lot of different riders working together from different strengths. What do you think about that?
I think we need some voice chat for it to work really well, because I certainly know that yesterday's race, the Vision Boys had some trouble trying to communicate to each other. So I can only imagine what a whole category trying to talk to each other is going to be like. But yeah, it's good. it's certainly a different way of doing it, and I think it will develop some people's abilities very well.
It's much
Push them to
needed.
go harder.
The change or just the innovation in Swift racing is so welcome for me personally. I have watched a crap ton of Swift racing. I have raced a ton of Swift racing. And at a certain point, you can only digress so much in your own ability, your own strength, that I'm just looking forward to like the community coming up with new ideas of how to race, like the team time trialing that's happening right now over in the Swedish race, the SZR, or the Hounds and Hare race, what's it called, or the Fox and the Hounds, whatever it was called, race we watched the other day. Those races, they're just so fun because they're so different from the typical A to B. It's just I enjoy seeing the community come up with great ideas. There's also, do you remember the Halloween event a few months ago?
The skeleton one.
Where everyone was skeletons and you were brought into categories based on how fast your London Loop course was, and then you were working together in a handicap race. I love seeing innovation, and speaking of what I love seeing, the gap, Tim, is up to 34 seconds.
Yeah, I just saw that. The three of them must have. I was back with the main peloton, but the three of them must have thrown a real serious attack down over the Whitehall lump because to.
But
take
how
it,
do you get 36 seconds on this course? Is it just pure strength?
Yeah, I don't. I'll have a look on the weights these front three are, but you know what I mean. Once you get a larger weight up to speed. It tends to hold it. So we'll just have a quick look.
Oh, I'm hearing a message. I'm getting a radio message that G Skeletor has quit the race. You'll be hearing from that one in the office. Nice race though, but it looked like he had a signal drop out, so no complaints there. It happens. It even happens to the best of us sometimes. But it looked like he was even out of the runnings with these three riders. It's going to be difficult to catch them up now as the Monster, Ericsson, and Jay Thrun are really, really digging it at the front. Mike Russell says, Jesper, I really do love your broadcast. They're by far my favorite. You know what? Your comment is by far the favorite of the night. Thank you so much, sir. You are a true gentleman. Casey Shum says, so the KISS US races will be like the XR... How do you say X? Is it X in English? It's X, right? Yeah. Because I can't say the letter set. Every Uber driver, every Uber driver makes fun of the way I say set. Because I live in an area where I need to type in set every time, which is so annoying. That's an off track. He says the KISS US race will be like the DCAT races. They're just not separate pens, just everyone off at time. Yeah, it sounds like it. It definitely sounds like it. But innovation is good. No matter, inspiration is the best form of flattery, and you can draw. You know, it's good. Oh, imitation, not inspiration. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Inspiration drawn from imitation. It's good, it's healthy, we all need it, and I look forward to it. Even personally, my head has been spinning with ideas on how to make Swift racing new and intuitive and just, you know, mix up the box, shake it on its head, and just try and get some life into this again. Because now we're heading into the summer season, which for many means they're going to go outside and race. And this is where we can now play around and get ready for the upcoming winter season next year, where everyone's going to come back. And, I mean, it's going to be competitive next year, you know, Tim? This year we saw 500 riders, 600 riders, so many riders. And now next year we're going to see like 1,000 every KISS race.
Yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it because that's a few extra wheels to follow. Just having a look at the three riders out front, which have now got 40 seconds on the group. Which is getting obviously larger and therefore harder to bring back. We've obviously got the Monster, who is quite a seasoned racer. Thrun, who has done a fair few number of races in the past. He's done 19 races.
He has just been dropped though. Either a signal issue or maybe just couldn't catch up. He's actually 15 seconds behind the front too. 15 seconds.
Ericsson, this is only Ericsson's third race.
Whew.
On
what a rider!
So he came third in a hilly race start of March, and then he won the same race the week later. So strong rider, new rider, someone to work with the Monster. Now there's down to two. It's going to be harder for them to stay away, I think.
Much harder. Because
How's
this will
how's that
mean
involved?
they have to take bigger turns at the front. This means it's going to be harder. It means it's going to hurt more. The group behind still around 30 seconds, and I think this is far from over, Tim. I have been known for calling races way too early because I am just too enthusiastic about a good story or a good race. This one I'm not going to call too early. It looks like the group behind, when we see attacks, which we will definitely see, we could see a gap being bridged. I remember Brett Boniface bridging a gap from right here where they are now up to the Whitehall climb, and the gap was 20 seconds. And what Brett Boniface of Team ODC did is he ducked down, he closed his eyes, he looked down, and he just gave it the beans, and he caught up 20 seconds from here out to the Trafalgar Square climb. And several riders back in the peloton, they've not had to take turns, they've had to sit in and just relax and react. With that in mind, they've saved so much energy, and with their racecraft, I think we could see several riders bridge this gap come later on. Because how many matches do you think Monster and Eric have burned so far?
I think they've burnt a lot, but I think they've got a lot to burn as well. A bit.
My mother just turned into the chat. Hi, Mom. How are you doing, Mom? I did not expect that one. So my mom just turned into the Zwift community live stream. If you're watching right now, in the comment section, how about sharing some love and saying hi, Jesper's mom? Let's see how many are ready to give my mom a warm welcome. I think this is her first time on Zwift Community Live. Oh, but there falls, and there were. This can't get much better. So my acoustic tile just fell down on my face as I was laughing. I'll have to set that up later.
And your green screen's delightfully failed. But other than that, it's going really well.
Has it failed? What? What's happening in my background? Oh god, so it failed. Oh, so acoustic tile fell down my face, ruined my green screen. Oh my god. So can we turn the green screen off for the time being then? So the green screen kind of just stopped, and this looks. Let me try and fix. Oh, this is so bad. Let me turn off the green screen for the time being. The acoustic tile seem to have thrown it off a tiny bit, so we're back into it. Oh, she wants to make sure you really do. And we even lost the riders out on course. That was just that right there. My mom tuned in and just completely ruined the stream. Thanks, Mom. How did I lose the riders? How did that? Where are the riders out on course? How did we? It shouldn't be possible to lose them. We're in the staggered start. This is high quality Zwift broadcasting at its best here at Zwift Community Live. We know what we're doing. How do I get back in?
So tell you what, how about I commentate on this race while you appear to deal with it. We've got now 52 seconds between the two out front and a really strong group of chasers. We'll just have to see how it evolves, but they're just coming down now to complete. Oh, I don't know what lap it will be now.
They're doing 53 kilometers in total. Give me a second, guys. I'm gonna quit Zwift and open Zwift up again because the acoustic tile fell down. The green screen went out of whack. Zwift went out of whack. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. So, Tim, our radio.
Did your mum just break the internet? Is that what you're saying?
Basically, somehow, my mom telepathically told my acoustic tile to fell down in my face, touch a key on my keyboard, then fall back over, hit the green screen, fall down to the floor. I look back up, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong.
It's going well, Jesper.
Oh, this is, oh my god. Mrs. Anchor generally does a great job. Oh my god, yeah. Mom, I usually am on my A game, but today I may have been thrown off a tiny bit. So let's see if I've got some of the guys in that front group on my friends list. Let's have a look and we can follow them. Alex Dowsett is out on course. So if we scroll down, there is Pierre Christian Barholm, who should be out on the course. Now just wondering if he's in that group chasing on behind. Give it a second to catch up. Here he is. He is off the back of the group, it looks like. So we have to catch back up to the front. Set TRBs. My internet is also trying to catch up slowly. Tim, help us. Help,
So
help Tim.
Barholm, it would appear, is just about to be lapped by the monster as well. So maybe.
Oh, really? So if I scroll back.
Scroll back a bit. The two leaders have just come across the start finish line and are heading up to the right hand side of Buckingham Palace.
Ooh, I got Cliven. I found Cliven. I found Cat. So we're in the main group now. We're in the main chasing group behind with Daffy Williams, and I assume that the riders are still in front, Le Mans and Ericsson.
Yes, they've been split up so much so that I've actually only got Ericsson and Le Monstre on my screen.
Really?
Back onto Zwift Power and just check out.
Yeah, by the way, guys, the green screen, it's usually it'll be gone, but circumstances happened, and you'll have to live with my green background. Could be worse. You could actually see my house. You could see the nice and neat and tight thing that's called Jesper's Casa. So yeah. 34 kilometers into the race, two riders are up near the front, which is Monstre and Ericsson, and we're gonna try to venture into that territory and try to find them. Where are they at right now, Tim? Are they on the falls flat afterwards?
So they're just coming back. They're coming back down past Buckingham Palace, just around the fountain of Queen Victoria.
They're that far ahead?
They're still on the red roads. So
wait, how are they still on the red roads?
They're just about to come off the red roads down Birdcage.
Okay. So you're saying a bunch of English places, which I should know where they are. Oh, I found Ericsson. I saw Ericsson. Oh, for a second, Jay Ericsson, Le Mans. We caught back up. Where is the round of applause, everyone? Come on. If that does not deserve a round of applause, I don't know what does. It took us 2 seconds, but we never panicked. We got back in, just like the riders. Tim and I have got incredibly composure. We never laughed. We never took this serious. No.
So far, we've had insurancemen, we've had green screen setters, we've had Jessica's mum. It's going really well. But just to update the age, it would appear that the group is 30 seconds back on the Monstre and Ericsson after 33 kilometers, which is 6 laps. Kicking up to the B category as well. The last update we had on that was 27 kilometers, which is the 5-lap mark. We've got a number of riders who have actually gone through the barrier now, including someone who's at 5.1, which
Ouch.
In the B category is really rather impressive. Perhaps an update's going from that. But the group appears to be down to about 10 in the top of the top level of the Bs.
Tim, we're just when you go to a concert, there's the warm-up band. So you go to when you go to like a stand-up event, there's like the warm-up comedian or whatever. Basically, we're that. Kiss is happening just after this. We're just here to get you to laugh a lot, to smile a lot, enjoy some good racing, and then we're going to hand it over to Nathan Guerra over on Go Zwift, commentating tonight's Kiss event, where hopefully you won't see acoustic tiles fall from above. I don't think Nathan Guerra's mom is going to tune into the broadcast, even though I would pay money to see what happens then, and I don't think his green screen is going to fall out. 35 kilometers in, Tim. We've got another 18? 3 laps to go. Ericsson and Monstre. I said earlier that this gap is definitely bridgeable, but actually we visualized that gap. We saw how big that gap was, and that's going to take an effort right about now. Because Ericsson and Monstre, they are, albeit putting out really high watts, they're sitting in now. They're resting at threshold power. And I know that sounds ridiculous, being resting at that power, but they're sitting in and they are getting ready.
Yeah, they've done the hard work. I don't know whether the peloton back down the road will be now considering it's a race for third, but we'll just have to see. They're just coming around to go under the 1K to go banner, so that would leave it with 3 laps to go. There's still plenty of road to bring them back in, but it's going to be incredibly hard work.
Incredibly hard work, but that's what Zwift racing is all about. That's what racing is all about. A challenge that if you can overtake it, you'll go down in history as legend, as like a sprint finish like yesterday. I keep mentioning, if you've not seen it yet, it is stored here on this Facebook page. Yesterday's broadcast of this event, which happened last night at the same time, that that's probably going to be written up in the Hall of Fame in 10 years' time, when there's like, you know, massive Swift races where like Chris Froome is going to come out of retirement and race on Swift, and we're going to think, you know, this sprint was what started it all. Adam Webb versus Van der Bent, 0 meters on the line, 0.00001 centimeters, whatever. That's what kickstarted everything. Go watch that race. That race was amazing. I even say the commentary was spot on that day. I don't know who commentated that, but I hear he's a great guy.
It was an Ian Stannard situation as well, wasn't it? After the
Yeah, it was 1 versus 3. It was Van der Bent versus Mark Roberts, Adam Webb, and Aaron Locks. 3 of our teammates, Tim. How do you feel about them getting outfoxed?
I just wasn't there to DS them, obviously, so I'll take the blame for that.
I mean, if they had had the broadcast on, they would have had a live DS, because I was so impartial in that video. Oh yeah, it was good. That's fun to watch. Simon S. the Priam says HIK, which stands for Hedis Course, I believe. Go with them. They're currently in the second peloton. We got the front group, Jay Eriksson and Lim Monstra, both putting out serious watts right now, putting down efforts. I still can't believe that Jay Eriksson's heart rate is 153 after casually sprinting to 7 watts per kilogram and doing it again and doing it again. And his heart rate just doesn't seem to move at all. We could be looking at another Swift juggernaut if this result holds up. But he's been averaging a good 5 watts per kilogram for this entire race so far, it looks like.
Yeah, so Zwift Power has him at 5.3.
5.3?
Yeah, as an average. His heart rate is tops out at 170, so they're quite evenly matched, these two. 75 kilos, 73 kilos, both around the 380 watts mark, and Le Monster's at 5.1 with Ericsson at 5.3.
You know, I gotta admit though, the Classics course to broadcast, to watch, it can be a bit tedious, it can be a bit slow, but actually racing the course, I think is one of my favorite courses to race. Because on Swift, you don't get any rest, usually. But on the Classics course, you can kind of use the red roads to relax a tiny bit if you play your cards right. You can try to spin up the legs, get the heart rate down, and get ready for the climb. Because that's what it all comes down to, lap after lap after lap. It's about not being dropped coming up to that climb, right, Tim?
Yeah, I'm not really going to call it a climb. It's a little lump. It's a little less.
Oh, you should have seen. Every time I mention the climb at Hillingdon, everyone goes, "Calling that a climb? That's like a bump in the road." You literally do 2 pedal strokes and you're up above it. But for me, it's hard enough to put in an effort.
Yeah.
But what is it?
It's a feature you've got to think about.
Yeah, but it's enough to actually make a difference. There's a reason why the watts go up to what? 12 watts, 13 watts, 14 watts per kilogram? It is a climb. I'd call it a climb. It's a bump in the road, which is the biggest bump on this nicely laid red road. Jay Eriksson, 5.4 watts per kilogram, continuing to put out impressive watts in the front. Will L. Munstridge sitting on that wheel, and it looks like he's going to have it cut out for him as Jay Eriksson averaging over 5 watts per kilogram. And any rider out there, any professional athlete or aspiring athlete knows just how difficult it is to put out 5 watts per kilogram for 50 minutes straight. Tim, did you have a look at Mikhail Kwiatkowski's Strava file from Milano Sanremo?
Yeah, that was impressive. His Poggio is unbelievable.
Quickly summarize that. For those that have not watched his power profile, what was so impressive about it?
How high the numbers were and how long they were high for. It's a very basic way of putting it, but I think the average for this 6-minute climb or 7-minute final climb at the Poggio, he averaged 560 watts or something. And for someone who is obviously at racing weight,
so like 72, 71 is what he weighs.
Yeah, that's going to be just insane. And then to out sprint Sagan, who obviously was being sat on, but it was an unbelievable effort. But he had the form from Strade Bianche, so I just love watching him because he'll give anything and go.
It's fun to watch, very, very fun to watch. What are you guys feeling tonight, by the way? We've not really interacted that much with the chat tonight, except for my mother tuning in and saying hi, then cowering out after she came in and ruined everything. So how are you guys doing tonight? Tuesday evening, this is usually the busiest day on Zwift. I plan on jumping on Zwift after this broadcast, doing a quick workout. What are your guys' plans for the evening? We got 10 kilometers to go, and it's safe to say that Jay Eriksson and Le Mans are going to be the two riders who are going to be duking it out for basically the top two spots on the podium. So what are your plans for tonight? Have you ridden? Are you going to ride? Are you going to race? Let us know in the chat section below. We'd love to hear from you. Sorry, I cut you off, Tim.
Yeah, no, I was just looking because of the way in which we can't go back to where the peloton is fighting on through. I was just checking it out on Zwift Power, and when they went through the sprint finish banner at 38 kilometers, there was a 38-second gap. So I don't want to call it all off, but unless one of them gets a mechanical or something like that, if it was one person, I think the length of time they've been out there, it would.
I still can't believe they got that big of a gap on the Classics course.
Yeah,
that's unheard of.
Especially with a group that's about 15 strong as well.
Yeah, and when we say 15 strong, we mean 15 like gladiators, 15 riders that are about to lay down the law. But somehow they were just outfoxed by Eriksson and Le Monstre. Eriksson is continuing to put out solid 5 watts per kilogram. Could I have some of what this guy's having, please? I would take an extra special of Jay Eriksson from Sweden. Maybe I need to go to IKEA afterwards and buy some extra watts. Antonio says, I am gathering motivation for Kiss B today. You know what, Antonio? Tim, give Antonio some stellar advice. You are my training coach. You're my racing buddy. Antonio's racing the bees. What does he need to know?
Yes, I believe it's the London Loop. So he's got the pleasure of Box Hill.
Twice?
Twice, which I know you're a massive fan of, as much as I am. You've got to pace yourself up the first one, Antonio. Don't do anything silly. Hold on to some wheels. As I would say to Jesper, let's ride smart, not hard, because if you ride hard up the first one, you'll blow yourself out for the second. And then just reassess, work out where you are for when you get into the tube for the second time, and then go for it.
Remember to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about having fun out there, honestly. Just go out there, have a good time. And once you're over the first Box Hill and you go, that was a good one, then you say to yourself, I'm going to relax, and the next one, I'm going to go even harder. And then somehow, I'm sure, Antonio, you're going to find yourself in top 10. Casey Shum says he's racing ZTR USA tonight, then a few circuits off the London Loop with 4 strolls up the climb. Sounds like you got your work handed to you. Good luck, man. Brad first says he's riding tonight in Canada. Great commentary, guys. Well, Brad, thank you for tuning in. Have fun riding in Canada tonight. Casey Shum also says Eriksson has got Zwift anti-doping agency ringing his doorbell.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up.
So, do they have his whereabouts is the question. It may be pee in a cup time, but if they can't find his pee, they can't put it in a cup. Just saying, one thing leads to another.
Jesper Anker lowering the tone since 1995. So Eriksson and Le Monstre have just gone through the start-finish banner for the 8th time, and Eriksson is at 5.2, still 381. He's against someone who is Zada approved, and Eriksson, this is his 3rd race, so he's unlikely to be. So we could be looking at some promotions or demotions, depending whether the glass is half full or half empty from your point of view. But we'll just have to see how that one pans out.
Well, all I gotta say is, Tim, I don't care. I'm watching. I can't even put on my glasses with these NASCAR headphones. All I can say is I'm enjoying some great racing as we've got 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go now. Njal Kleiven, who recently won a race that I was actually commentating, says, this course is extremely populated. You get full draft also when you're in the break. Kudos to the front guys. Massive. Maybe you had to take a slight tone of sarcasm, but I do agree that riding this course in the forward way, I feel ridiculous with these glasses on, is a bit populated, but they haven't been drafting. The reason why they've got 38 seconds is not due to draft. Eriksson has been putting down 5 point, what is C-Power saying? 5.3?
5.2.
5.2 watts per kilogram. Drafting or not, if you can put that down for an hour, you're gonna win. I mean, there are only so many riders that I know of that can put down 5 watts per kilogram or higher, and those are Tim Cartwright, Phil Deigner, and David Allenby. Maybe on a good day, Adam Webb, but how often, Tim? You even race in the A category. How often do you see a rider average above 5?
You very rarely see it across a whole race, because once someone's averaged 5 for about 20 minutes, they're so far ahead that they can just sort of calm down. But we'll just have to see. I don't know. It might. I'm going to be a bit cynical here, but it might be Le Mans just pushing him on so he stays above 5, so he's guaranteed the win. Which, with a lap and a half to go, I mean, might be something I'd be considering as well. But that's just the way I would probably strategically race it. Yeah, no one pushing 5.2 for 50 minutes. I don't know anyone who can really do that.
Well, I do. His name is Lawson Craddock. I know another one, Matthew Heyman. I know a third guy, Thomas de Gent, Alex Dowsett. I mean, the list kind of goes on, so plenty. It's normal. It's impressive.
People that aren't paid to cycle.
To be SADA approved, what is involved? Is somebody watching the test live? So, David, how to be SADA approved? SADA is Zwift Anti-Doping Agency, and it's a collective of people dedicated to keep Zwift racing honest and above board. That's basically what it is. And they're keeping an eye on the racing. Afterwards, they're going to have a look at Zwift Power. And Zwift Power, if Ericsson keeps this up and he averages above 5.0 watts per kilogram, next to his name on Zwift Power, it's going to have a symbol saying, please seek out SADA to be confirmed in the results. Until he seeks out SADA, he will not be counted in the results. He'll be excluded, but just provisionally. If he then contacts SADA and then gets approved, they'll look at some of his real life numbers, so they'll look at his setup, and they'll try to verify that these numbers are indeed what he's putting out. Then his result will be verified and validated, and he'll be put down in the history books as the winner of this race. But until then, Le Monstre, who is SADA approved, will get the victory most likely. Does that make sense? So it's actually not SADA seeking you out. It's for you to seek SADA out in case if you want your result to be validated. You can always race without being SADA verified, but to go down on Zwift Power as the actual winner of the race, you need to have that SADA verified badge next to your name, because 5 watts per kilogram. That's when I first started out. That was twice of what I could put out. I could only put out like 2.5 at max, and 5 watts per kilogram. That means you're double as strong as me. And I'm like 192, 78 kilos. Crazy, Tim, crazy.
Yeah, and he's still at it now. So they're just coming around to the bell lap, which will no doubt throw a few more fireworks into it.
I can't wait, Tim. Fireworks. I'm expecting. Yesterday we saw 19 watts per kilogram in a sprint. 19. What do you think today? I think we could see 20. I think we could see 21.
I think we'll see. Well, it depends how they treat the next lap. The next lap they could play cat and mouse with each other, and then we'll see some big numbers. However, if they keep on it, then I think we'll just see just a sort of shake of hands and see who can do it from 200 meters out.
You have to tell me though, because you've got Jay Ericsson's profile on Zwift Power open. What's his max heart rate recorded so far in the race?
170.
He's been sitting at 155 for the entire race. I want to know what he can put out when he's really digging at it. I want to know, what is his FTP then? Because technically this has been sweet spot training for him, this race for an hour.
So if we go into his profile, he has his FTP down as 330 watts. And he's just spent the last hour at 381.
Maybe, yeah. No, does SADA cover lower categories too? No, they do. SADA, if you were in the D category and you average 5 watts per kilogram, you would get a SADA, check out SADA tick basically. So the entire process is automated. It's made so that you have to seek out SADA instead of SADA having to seek you out. It's making it so the process is much faster, much more fluent.
So if you look at Zwift Power is basically is Zada up until the A's, if that makes sense. So if you're in the D's and you put in immense performance, they will upgrade you. It's just sort of in the A's, there is no top echelon or no top barrier, so you have to sort of prove it.
Should there be a top barrier in the A's? Should there be like an A plus category?
I don't think so. I think you still get a good race. I'm not in the top of the A's, and I still sometimes come out with some good results. I'm always in with a battle. It depends what course you're on, all sorts of things like that. It depends what competition you're against. I don't think we need to consider it yet, but maybe have something in place.
Maybe next year. Maybe because next year, you know, the level is going to be through the roof. The way that, like, you know, when you see events and you see who signed up for it, it just keeps growing, keeps growing, keeps growing. And think of next year's like August, September, October, November, December. I think we're gonna see new names. We're gonna have new like J Ericsson show up and just obliterate the field. Where there maybe need to, maybe even by that something will be in place that'll be even better. We'll see how it goes. Stuart Dixon says, just wondering, is there plenty of other Cat Cs doing 4 watts per kilogram? If you were to average 4 watts per kilograms in the Cs, you would get upgraded. Trust me, because I've been through that process. Anything above 3.2 and you get upgraded. I averaged 3.3 in a C race and I'm now a B rider. So it's an automated process. If somebody does it, it's because it's a breakout performance and you should congratulate them as they really dug deep and they really found something they didn't know they had and they're now in a category above and they can use that. So we're looking at the final lap. This is indeed, even though all that talk about Sada, talking about different racing, that's because this race has been over from the 20-kilometer mark. It's been down to 2 riders. We've got Ericsson and Monstra. They also had Throw up here, but he was actually dropped. Maybe due to a signal dropout, maybe due to just not having the legs. But we're now down to a 2-man race as we got 3 kilometers to go. Tim, it's time to pick your horse. Ericsson or Monstra?
I'm going to go with Monstra.
You're gonna...
The chase group is at 117, so that's not coming back, but I think we could have,
117.
yeah, we could have a good
That is
sprint on
the
Amsterdam.
biggest gap I've ever seen in a classics race. That's essentially all. They're almost lapping them at 117. That's maybe 2 more minutes and they're lapped. What a fast pace. They've been averaging. I want to see the Strava file. This could be the fastest crit race on Zwift that I've seen ever, averaging like 50 kilometers an hour. Incredible times being set up. But if you're going to pick Monstra, I'm going to pick Ericsson. Do you know why? Because this man still has another 20 beats to go, whereas Monstra is sitting uncomfortably at 156. Just saying. We'll see who's got it. But it's going to come down to Trafalgar Square. It's going to come down to the sprint. I don't believe there are power-ups allowed in the Zwift training race, the ZTR race, which is happening today, which is happening right now, actually. So it's going to be mano a mano. It's going to be Ericsson versus Monstra, Sweden versus United Kingdom. And the Scandinavian side of me says we're going to have a Viking winning today. You can keep your red coat at bay today. Sorry, Tim. Talk me through this finish, though. How would you play this? If you were Monstra, who's your horse to win, how would you play this?
I would sit on as much as possible, and then when I get to the 1K banner, I would click up through the gears so that I had plenty of capacity to go up. If I had a power up, if I had an aero or if this was a kiss race, as I went under the arch, I would probably blow the aero or the truck. But this one, I might throw a little bit of attack up this hill, just to see how the other person reacts. But other than that, sit on until Admiralty Arch, and then just look down and give it everything you've got.
It's happening now, though. Race is about to kick off. Ericsson 6 watts per kilogram. Monstra at 7. No big watts so far. Both of them seem to be quite fatigued at this point. Monstra just marking Ericsson. I see that's 6 watts per kilogram. Almost reaching that 160 beats per minute. The highest we've seen him at all day so far. Albeit actually averaging over 5 watts per kilogram. We'll see, can he reach 170? As we know, it's his max heart rate in the sprint. 1.4 kilometers to go now. Ericsson versus Monster. 1 hour and 6 minutes, and it's coming down to the final kilometer. It's going to be a sprint. Who's going to take it? I want you in the comment section. Let us know who's going to take this. Is it going to be the Viking from Sweden, Jay Eriksson, or is it going to be the red coat, El Monstre? Let us know in the comment section below, and you can then pat yourself on the shoulder if you were right, or you can nod your head if you were wrong. It's all about getting those, Zwift guessing points, Zwift validated points, as Ericsson is still taking the front, taking the strong approach, sitting at 370 watts, not letting Monster catch his breath, as his heart rate is sitting at 155. Two juggernauts going head to head. Ericsson for a second though, down to 2 watts per kilogram, maybe wanting to get in that wheel and slit in and get ready for a counterattack. Talk me through this, Tim, now, right now. Who's got the better position?
Ericsson, in my opinion, has the better position at the moment. But what I would maybe do from a Monster point of view, if you're sitting on the front like this, I'd throw a fake attack so he would see the wattage go into the orange, so that Ericsson would try and counterattack, and he'd go flying by, a bit like a Top Gun braking maneuver. He just goes flying by, you sit in the tail, and then you're in the power position from behind. But it's coming down to it now. It's all over to you, Jesper.
Ericsson for a second there. It looked like he did a reverse of what you said. He went down to 0 watts per kilogram and then attacked up again to 8 just to catch back into the wheel. Monster sitting down. We're heading on to the red road so they can see the finish line. Ericsson 0.8 watts per kilogram. Neither of these two riders want to attack too early. This is where if you catch the other rider by surprise, you can actually go the distance. Monster up to 5 watts per kilogram, 6 watts per kilogram. But Ericsson from nowhere to 15 watts per kilogram. He has another kick in him, and it looks like Monster has been left in the dust. He is 7 meters, 8 meters, 10 meters behind him. The Viking, my pick for the day, and the beast, the myth, the legend, Jay Ericsson completes the race. Tim, Ericsson, what did we just witness? Over 5 watts per kilogram, and then having something for the finish. He reached maxed heart rate. Is this a Zwift legend in the makings?
I'll let Zada pull that. I don't want to go.
We have to go a minute back now. Find the group behind.
Here we come. We've got the vegan cyclist taking it up really early. He's at the 300-meter mark. Hansen's closing him down at 12 watts per kilo. Daphne Williams is just on his tail as well, with Sherritt, O'Malley, Hine. This is where the big sprint finish is coming from.
It's going to be down to the wire, though. Whew. Some of the riders went long. Daphne Williams coming in. Vegan Cyclist coming in 5th, 6th. O'Malley, Hine. That looks to be rounding out the top 10. Tim, thank you very much for being or keeping me company in today's very long race. But it was incredible to see Ericsson and Monster duke it out. Riders further back in the peloton also duking it out for the finish line. Head over to Zwift Power to see the official results. Thank you so much for keeping us company. As always, click that like button if you want to see more content here on Zwift Community Live. Tim, you get to do the outro. Take it away.
Well, Jesper, thanks for having me on. Thanks that your mum popped in, your green screen failed, your acoustics tower came down, and an insurance man tried to sell me house insurance and house of my own. So I just think we've done really well there, but it was a fantastic ride between the Monster and the Ericsson, and a really great sprint finish for the minor placings. So yeah, catch the replay.